Hello Windows Universe. In this video we will talk about how to change mouse settings in Windows 10. For a more in-depth look at the topic, we will link an article in the description down below. We're going to have to open up the control panel in order to get started. So type in control panel. Then in the search type in mouse. The first thing we're going to look at is how to modify the way the mouse button works. So click on the mouse settings. Now the left mouse button is primarily used to select items in the Windows system. Clicking once picks the item and double clicking it opens it. The right mouse button brings up the context menu for items selected. Now if we want to switch that around, then all we would do is click this box right here, and anything that we would normally pick with the left button now does it with the right, and so forth. If you want to change the double click speed, then you can control this slider. You can move it up to make it faster, you can move it to the left to make it slower. There's also click lock. By turning this on, instead of having to hold down the mouse to move something, then you can just click on it, move the mouse, and unclick on it. If you want to change the pointers and the appearance of the pointers, you'd go to the tab for pointers. You can of course use a general scheme. As you see that we have, you can change the scheme from the system scheme, magnified, Windows black, inverted, standard, and there are even places that you can go to download different sort of like pointer schemes and actually install them. If you want to make these changes, then you would just pick the particular one you want, click on apply, and as you see, the mouse's appearance changes. You can also remove or add the pointer shadow by clicking this particular button. Once you make your decisions, click apply, then click OK. Under pointer options, we can go faster or slower with the pointer speed. You can enhance the pointer precision. Snap to automatically move the pointer to a default button in the dialog box. Visibility. If you want to have the mouse have tails, then you would click this. You can have it where the pointer hides while it's typing. And you can even have it to where if you're like me and you lose the mouse where the mouse is on the screen, you can activate this to where if you press the control button, the circle will appear to show you where the mouse is. If you like those changes, then click apply. Under the wheel, the center wheel that you scroll, you can change the number of lines that it scrolls when you move the scroll one notch. Or you can have it set up where it actually goes up or down one screen, depending on that particular notch. Tilt the wheel to scroll the following number of characters at a time. Default is 3. You can change that to whatever you feel comfortable with. For more helpful articles to help you maximize your Windows experience, go to our website, thewindowsclub.com. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, where we are always adding new content aimed at making you the master of your digital house. Thanks for watching and have a great day.